Hello everyone and welcome back to One Soccer. I'm your host for today, Josh Deming, and we are back with another episode of our Canadians Abroad Summer Series. On this week's episode, we're going to take a look at Ismael Kone being linked to Norwich City, we have Doneil Henry returning to TFC, Jonathan David being linked to Manchester United, and a lot of other storylines surrounding Canadian soccer. So hopefully you guys are excited, and if you are, as always, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub as well, and let's get into the update now. The Vancouver Whitecaps are your 2022 Canadian Championship winners. They took on TFC in the final and it was an incredible match. TFC went out there with a ton of possession, had over 70% of the ball, but the Whitecaps knew what they were doing. They had a game plan and they stuck to it. They defended well, they hit on the counter, and they looked to took their opportunities there. It worked for them as Brian White went on to score the opening goal of the match. It went into the second half and TFC started to try to come a little bit more lively. They were running out of options, running out of ideas, but eventually, honestly, between pure brilliance, an opportunity came from a corner. Bernardeschi laid it off to Nelson, who gave it back to him in one of the nicest outside of the foot crosses you'll ever see onto the head of Lucas McNaughton, makes it 1-1, looking to break the Whitecaps' heart. Late in the match, as there was no extra time, the two teams were exchanging blows, very open in the midfield. Nothing was settled after 90, which meant it went to a penalty shootout. In the penalty shootout, the Whitecaps were perfect 5 for 5. TFC only scored 3, missing one of their 4 penalties. And it was Jonathan Osorio who had a very short run up. He took his penalty, he put it off the post, and unfortunately with that, after the match ended 1-1, Vancouver Whitecaps went on to win 5-3 on penalties to be the 2022 Canadian Championship winners. This title had a lot of storylines behind it for the Whitecaps. They've struggled against CPL sides in the past. They had to take on 3 CPL sides, including Calgary, to go to this final. In this final, they were playing at home at BC Place. They haven't won a final since 2015. This is their second ever Voyageurs Cup, which is just wild to think about. And against TFC in the finals, they've lost 5 consecutive times. They've won their 6th meeting against them to win their second ever cup. It was quite the story. It was written in the stars for the Whitecaps, and they definitely stepped up to the plate. A huge congratulations goes out to the Vancouver Whitecaps for bringing home this title, and a special shout out goes out to all the Canadians who lifted the Voyageurs Cup. Thomas Hasal, Marcus Godinho, Christian Gutierrez, Lucas Cavallini, Russell Tybert, Ryan Raposo, Michael Baldissimo, Isaac Bomer, Mateo Campagna, and Tosaint Ricketts. Reports coming out from the Daily Express stating that Manchester United have a free run to sign Jonathan David for 42 million euros. It's being stated that Manchester United are searching for a new number 9 because Cristiano Ronaldo's future is uncertain. Right now in preseason, Marcus Rashford, Jayden Sancho, and Anthony Martial have definitely thrived under Erik ten Hag's new style, but it's looking like a number 9 could be on the cards. Cristiano Ronaldo wants to leave Manchester United to play Champions League football next season. He's been offered to numerous clubs around the world, including Atletico Madrid. If he were to leave Manchester United, it could actually be a blessing in disguise for Erik ten Hag because he doesn't actually fit ten Hag's system. Ronaldo is still undoubtedly one of the best strikers in the world, but at his age, he's not going to be able to press much. He's going to be one of those number 9s that's going to be able to be in position to put the ball in the back of the net. But something that Jonathan David could bring to the table is the fact that he is a workhorse. He will be able to press on and off the ball, he'll be able to drop back, create it into pockets of space, and able to do exactly what ten Hag wants of him. The Daily Express also reports that Jonathan David would suit Erik ten Hag's system and fit it like a glove. I do agree with that, but there is a big risk of going to the Premier League, especially with Manchester United, just given the situation that they're under. The club is in a bit of a mess and they're trying to get things back on the right track. It could be a blessing in disguise as well for Jonathan David to make this type of move and actually thrive under this system, but there will be a lot of pressure leading up to this upcoming World Cup. This transfer window is like no other and players know it. This World Cup is not going to be played in the summer, it's going to be played in November. So this next move has to be the correct one. You want to go into a World Cup, into a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity in the best form you can possibly be. And that's where the debate comes in for Jonathan David. He's thriving right now under Paulo Fonseca in the first few preseason matches he's played in, scored a few goals as well. He's looking sharp. He's going to play this year and he's going to hopefully go into the World Cup in top form for Lille. If he makes that move to Manchester United, there's uncertainty. Whether Ronaldo stays, whether it's Rashford playing up front, Martial playing up front, there could be a lot of competition. And if Jonathan David doesn't hit the ground running at Manchester United, there's a good chance he could be on the bench. However, when a club like Manchester United comes knocking and a player like Jonathan David wants to take that next step in his career, he's going to act and he's going to make that type of move. It's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen to Jonathan David, whether he stays at Lille for one more season or goes to Manchester United. His future is certainly up in the air. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. We have seen some of our Canadian women's national team stars head to England this summer. Adriana Leon headed to Manchester United and Kadisha Buchanan was signed by Chelsea. But could there be another Canadian heading to England soon? Jayde Riviere is quietly doing some incredible things for the Canadian women's national team. She's currently playing in the NCAA with the Michigan Wolverines, but it looks like a move to Europe will absolutely be in her future. Riviere is only 21 years old right now, and she's already won an Olympic gold at the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo. She currently has 35 caps for Canada, making her debut back in 2017, and she is still in college. It's incredible what she has already achieved, and it goes without saying that some of the biggest clubs around the world will be keeping an eye on her. I want to link her over to England right now because it makes sense. It's the theme of the summer. Canadians are heading to England. They're making these big moves, and Kadisha Buchanan is an interesting one. Chelsea FC have a tendency to take a look at some Canadians. They have Jessie Fleming and now Kadisha Buchanan playing there, but if you specifically look at Kadisha Buchanan, she's got a similar case to Jayde Riviere. Kadisha Buchanan played in the NCAA from 2013 until 2016 for West Virginia Mountaineers before graduating and moving to Lyon. It goes without saying that Buchanan has won everything there was to win with Lyon, winning 5 domestic league titles, 5 Champions League, and 3 Coupe de France's. Jayde Riviere is absolutely a player that Chelsea FC should keep an eye on. They've already seen what a Canadian can do for them in Jessie Fleming. They went out and signed another one in Kadisha Buchanan, and if they keep an eye on the track record, what it's like for a player to go from the NCAA at college level and making that step to Europe is incredible. They have living proof with the player they just signed in Kadisha Buchanan, and Jayde Riviere could absolutely be a player that they can keep an eye on and hopefully monitor and bring into the Chelsea fold in the near future. As reported on in an article written by one of my colleagues, Emily Wilson, she goes on to talk about some of the leadership qualities that Riviere has. Riviere is captaining her college team, a role that she was voted into and did not expect to have. To know that my teammates voted for me to be captain holds a special place in my heart, and it doesn't just come from the coaches. It comes from the players behind you, the players that are on the field with you that you see every day. I was pleasantly surprised by it. I was shocked by it. I didn't know that my teammates saw me in that way, so it was really heartwarming to know that they voted for myself. Captaining Canada one day is not necessarily off the table either. It's not something I've looked at specifically. I think I have a lot of growing to do in order to even get close to doing that. Riviere is definitely a leader already and will have the opportunity to hopefully develop even further when she inevitably makes that jump to Europe. Doneil Henry has returned to TFC, signing a contract until the end of 2022. Doneil Henry was actually Toronto FC's first ever homegrown player signed back in 2010. He was available to be signed once again by TFC after being waived by LAFC in early July. Henry was already struggling for minutes at LAFC before the signing of Chiellini, and once he came in, the writing was on the wall and Henry had to find a new club. This signing makes a lot of sense for both Doneil Henry and TFC. TFC mutually terminated the contract with Mexican international center back Carlos Salcedo, opening up a position at the back for a new player. Henry will join the likes of Chris Mvinga, Shane O'Neill, and Domenico Crisito at the back and will be an added player to have in terms of quality as well as leadership on the pitch. With the World Cup coming up in November, Doneil Henry absolutely had to find a club where he could settle in quickly, get back on form, get back healthy, and play some minutes leading up to this World Cup because he will definitely be a part of John Herman's plans. Bob Bradley was satisfied with the move as well and went on to say this: Doneil has good experience in the league and can provide us with some backline depth. He obviously has strong ties to Toronto and to the club, and we know that he's excited to rejoin the team. Henry will also bring some valued experience to this back line after having spells in England with West Ham and Blackburn, as well in the MLS already with TFC, Vancouver Whitecaps, and most recently LAFC. With Salcedo leaving, they have an open DP spot as well, and with Bernadeschi coming in as well as Insigne, this TFC side looks very top heavy. We don't know exactly where that DP will go, whether it'll be the midfield or potentially a striker like it was rumored with Bellotti, but knowing that you can bring a player who's a Canadian men's national team star, a valued piece to the back, could hopefully stabilize that young back line and help TFC go for a playoff push. Ismael Kone truly had his breakout year for CF Montreal and also for the Canadian men's national team, and right now he's being linked to Europe. Fabrizio Romano tweeted that Norwich are now really pushing to sign Canadian international talent Ismael Kone from CF Montreal. Many clubs are in the race, but Norwich want to get ahead of the rest. They were in Washington on Saturday versus DC United to convince Kone. The intentions from Norwich City are massive. They know a young player when they see one. They want to bring him over to England and help compete, and I absolutely love this move. Ismael Kone has proven already at a young age that he can play in the MLS and play at a high level. He's done it for the Canadian men's national team as well, and this is the next step of his development, to go over to a club where they will back him, that they want him, and he's going to truly be able to thrive there. For a club like Norwich City to go out of their way to head to the US, to keep an eye on him, seeing how he's developing, and to convince him to come to them shows values to what this young player can bring. Norwich City also have an incredible track record recently in the championship. They've been bouncing back and forth from the Premier League to the Championship, but playing the Championship this upcoming season will be a good opportunity for Ismael Kone to come in and integrate himself into this side. He will learn in a very intense league. A lot of games are to be played. He'll get his opportunities, whether it's the league, the cup, to be able to grow, develop on that player, and potentially in a year's time be able to play in the Premier League. To end off this week's update, we have some Canadian men's national team stars quick hits. Lille took on Las Palmas in a friendly where they drew 2-2. Jonathan David did score in that match, and he scored in a couple friendlies so far this season under Paulo Fonseca. And like I mentioned, if he is to stay at Lille for one more season, Paulo Fonseca, I believe, can bring a lot out of Jonathan David. Help him be a little bit more consistent, be that finisher that we know he can be, and get him in fantastic form leading up to this World Cup. And also, the most important thing maybe for Jonathan David as well, if he stays for one more season at Lille, is that he can potentially set himself up to get that move he wants. We know the project he's looking for. It's got to be a big club, like a Manchester United, Bayern Munich, Juventus, maybe even Napoli, a club that he really wants to go to. One more season playing under a manager like this, I think can maybe get the job done, and he's already had a hot start to the season. FC Porto took on Monaco in a friendly where they won 2-1, and starting that match was Stefan Eustaquio in the midfield, and this is a big statement early on. Stefan Eustaquio made that loan move last season, and he joined one of the hottest clubs in the world. It was very difficult for him to get starts, let alone coming on late in the match, but he was signed permanently into a big contract until 2027. And that's a statement in itself because we know how talented this side was, and inevitably, unfortunately for Porto, they were going to lose players specifically in their midfield to new clubs, and this is where Stefan Eustaquio can capitalize. There's already been some nice marketing material out there with Porto asking for Canadians to come on and cheer on FC Porto because they want to get the love, the Canadian love coming in here to support Eustaquio, and I absolutely love it. But this is a good start. He's got an opportunity to really make something of himself this season to start for one of the best clubs, if not the best club right now in Porto. It's a great start to the season, taking on a club like Monaco as well. I know it's a preseason match, but it's still important to get these type of results and these type of minutes early on. So I'm expecting a big season from Stefan Eustaquio, playing the championship, playing week in, week out in the league, and hopefully being in the best form you can imagine. So when he represents Canada and Qatar, he will be at his very best. Bayern Munich took on Manchester City in a preseason friendly in a match where they lost 1-0. And this was the first true look at what Bayern Munich looked like without Robert Lewandowski. Lewandowski has been the focal point and a prolific goal scorer for Bayern for so long, and now this is kind of a new opportunity for them to see how they're going to do without him. They lined up in this game in a 4-2-3-1 system, and I know it's preseason, but it's still a good indication of potentially what's to come. Neuer started in goal, Pavard was at right back, Upamecano and Hernandez were the two center backs, Davies was at left back, Kimmich and Sabitzer were the two CDMs, Gnabry played at cam, Sane was out on the left, and Koeman was on the right with Thomas Muller going up front as the lone striker. Xerxes came off the bench, but there was no Sadio Mane in this match. Bayern really struggled to create chances, and you'd imagine if Robert Lewandowski featured in this match, it probably would have been a bit of a different scoreline. However, this was the first new look, and it's not to say that Sadio Mane can't get the job done, but there could be a lot of question marks up front of just how easy is it for Bayern to be able to score against some of the big dogs around the world. Alphonso Davies did feature, like I mentioned, and he did play 71 minutes. Going to look sharp down that left-hand side. He's going to have a lot of opportunities to get involved in the pitch. And hopefully with a more fluid front three, because I think Mane will be very important. Bayern will hopefully get back to winning ways very soon. Stefan Mitrovic made his debut for Red Star over the weekend, and what a debut it was. Mitrovic was substituted into the match at halftime, and he went on to score the second goal of the game for Red Star as they went on to win 2-1. What a statement that was for Mitrovic to his manager, saying, hey, I'm here to compete, I'm here to start, and I'm here to produce. I really like the move for him to go to Red Star, to stay within Serbia, a league that he's already comfortable with, and a league where he can continue to develop his skills. As I've mentioned, he's a dual national to both Canada and Serbia. He's going to be right in the sightline of the Serbian national team. They're going to be keeping an eye on him, especially at a club like Red Star. But Canada do have Milan Borjan there, Canadian legend, so we don't know exactly which one this is going to go and where Mitrovic will play his international career, but one thing's for sure is this kid's got a bright future and he had an incredible start to his new club career. Club Brugge kickstarted their season with a 3-2 win over Genk. Unfortunately, Tayjon Buchanan did not feature in this match. He's still suffering from a knock that he picked up in warm-ups before the Super Cup match. He was supposed to start in the Super Cup match, and ideally he probably would have started as well in this match. Not the best start you want to have getting injury early on in this season, but expect Tayjon to get back fully fit very soon and get back right into that starting 11. Kyle Larin did not start this match, but he was substituted into it in the 83rd minute for Noah Lang. He went on to take a penalty as well in the 90th minute, and he hit the post, but fortunately for him, Olsen tucked home the rebound to make it 3-2 and win the match. Larin took a little bit of stick on social media for that miss, but it's being reported that his manager actually wanted him to take that penalty. The regular penalty taker was suffering for a little bit of fatigue, so Larin stepped up. A margin a few inches, but in the end there was no harm, no foul. The ball was put in the back of the net. It's tough for Larin because he wants to make an impact in this match. His first league appearance, he was going to score the winner, but at the end of the day, he's going to get a ton of opportunities moving forward, and hopefully he's going to be able to learn from this, grow from this, and become a starter for Club Brugge this upcoming season. That's all the time we have for this episode. I hope you guys did enjoy it, and if you did, as always, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub as well. We're over 50,000 subscribers. We appreciate everyone so much for tuning in, and our next goal is 100,000 subscribers. Also, be sure to head over to One Soccer for all the best Canadian soccer coverage. My name is Josh Deming. Hope you guys enjoy this, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers, friends.